Hey guys, Chad here from Dirt Poor TV. Today we're going to get a little bit more in depth in this High Country 9000 here. It's an Arctic Cat with a 141. What's happening is the suspension. It has the idler wheels from the factory that are in the mid skid. When the suspension collapses and not even goes to full bottom, the Evol shock on the side of the shock will hit those idler wheels. And I noticed it because it was rubbing the sticker off of the Evol shock. So I did some checking around. Nobody really could give me any answers. I contacted Arctic Cat, actually at the dealership, took it there. The dealership just said, just take the idler wheels off, that's the fix. Well, that's not a good enough fix for me. So I ended up coming across Hygear suspension. They do offer a fix for this, and what it is the top of the shock, they've cocked it a little bit to where the suspension's able to cycle without rubbing up against the idler wheels and the shock. So what I did was, you spend $25, they send you a box, you put your shock in the box, you send it back to them, they'll take apart your shock, clean it, make sure nothing needs to be done to it, or valve it for your weight, whatever you want, and then send you the shock back. If you like this content, please check out my other videos on Dirt Poor TV on YouTube, and please consider and subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. That always helps us in the algorithm. And make sure you hit that bell notification so you're notified every time Dirt Poor TV puts out a video. There's your Evol reservoir on the side there, and you can see the stickers wore off. And what happens is when the suspension cycles, this idler goes up and hits this and rubs that off. I'm going to try to take the shock off without taking the skid out of the frame. Didn't have any problems whatsoever removing the shock without taking the skid out. It was simple, 2 bolts. It was, what was it? It was a 1/2 inch on one side and a 10 millimeter on the other. 13 was just too loose, so I went with the 1/2 inch, and the 10 millimeter fit perfect, so is what it is. But here's the shock, it's out. You can see right here where it completely rubbed off the sticker, and it was hitting a little bit up here, rubbed the sticker off. Oh, and I forgot, this is not the stock valve cap. The stock valve cap looks like this down here. It completely rubbed that all the way off, and so I just stuck a regular valve cap on it for shipping. But just follow their instructions. If you ordered the box like I did, and it comes with everything you need, I'm going to stick it in this bag, tighten it up, send it off. Well, I know in the previous video I made back in September when I took the shock off, and this is kind of bringing you up to date on what happened. I talked a lot about the 141 linkage that I wanted to get. Well, I didn't get the linkage, and it really wasn't because of the price. This right here was $114 for them to disassemble the shock, clean it, fix anything that was wrong with it, which it only had 600, almost 700 miles on it. So I can't see where there was anything wrong with it. And then put the new top on it and get it back to me, which I didn't have to pay for shipping. But I didn't go with the linkage, and the reason because I didn't go with the linkage is because that over there. Okay, here is the shock that we received from Hygear with the new top on it. This was the old top, and this is where the Evol shock used to rub on it. So with it being like this cap would be like that at 90 degrees. Your Evol is over here on the side, your Evol chamber. That's what is rubbing on your idler wheels. So what Hygear does is they sell this top, and I'm not for sure if it's their top or if it is Fox float top that they have. So I don't know where it comes from, but Hygear is where I found it. But what they do is it cocks it at a 45-degree angle, so now the idler wheel should pass the Evol shock. So we're going to get this put back on there. I've already pre-greased my bushings in here. We're going to put anti-seize on the bolts. So we'll try to fit this up in here. We didn't have any problems coming out. Now let's see what happens going in. Top bolts in. Okay, bottom bolt. There it is. Okay, hop off. Okay, so it really wasn't that bad getting both of them, the bolts in there. Like I said before, it's a 10 millimeter and a 13 millimeter. Okay, go up to the top one. It's the one higher than that one. Okay. Like I said, torque these to manufacturer specifications, which I'll do here later. But I also have to do the four-wheel. We're going to do the four-wheel kit here on the back, which that's why the track is loose. But to kind of show you what's going on here, as you can see, your idler wheel here, when this moves up, it's going to pass the Evol chamber, which the Evol chamber used to be over here on the side. So no issues there. I have seen some mounted upside down, but mine came mounted this way, and I asked them at the dealership, and they said this was the way it was supposed to be mounted. We've got quite a bit more coming from just this sled. Well, like I said, we'll be doing the four-wheel kit here. We've got an oil change, chain case. We got a lot going on this one, and then the one behind me, it's getting ready for the whole front end to be painted. All the A-arms are off of it. So stay tuned to Dirt Poor TV. So if you like this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button because that helps us out in the algorithm. And also make sure you hit that bell notification so you're notified every time Dirt Poor TV puts out a video. Hey guys, I've been waiting for this box since October 4th, and today is November 9th. And there's been tons of mix-up. I don't know if I really blame Hygear. Maybe I do on a little bit of miscommunication and more than one part, and I'll tell you kind of what happened. So I contacted them. They said yes, they have a component that goes on top of the shock and turns it a little bit to where there won't be any rubbing and you can run your idler wheels. I did contact Articat. They told me to take the idler wheels off. Well, that wasn't good enough, so I ended up going this route. Needless to say, they offer this shipping program. In the shipping program, it's $25. They send you a box. You put your stuff in the box. You send it to them. They do the work on it. They send it back to you. What they didn't tell me is on the return that I had to pay. To me, if they send me a box, every time we send the box, it should be covered. At least it should be covered to them and then back to me. But let's get into that here in a second. So anyway, I get the shock off the sled, which you've already seen in the video, and I call them up. I said, hey, I need a pickup. I call UPS. I need a pickup. Come to my house, pick this up. I don't live in town, so I don't have a UPS drop off. So UPS said, okay, we'll pick it up later today, 4 o'clock. and it'll be $18. And I'm like, $18? What are you guys talking about? I've already paid for this box. I paid Hygear. And they go, oh, do you have Hygear's, I guess it would be their company number through UPS. And I'm like, no, I don't. I mean, look it up. And she goes, well, I've looked up the tracking number that you're giving me, and the tracking number said you received the product. And I said, yes, I've received the product, but it's supposed to be paid to go back to them. And then she says, well, it's not. I said, okay. So I ended up calling Hygear, and I'm not going to go through any names. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but anyway, I go through, call Hygear, and they said, no, it should be covered. And I said, look, I want to get this out today. This is Friday. You guys said if you get it right away, you should have it in a quick turnaround, 7 to 10 days. So I want to get it to you. I'm shipping it for the $18. You will be paying for it coming back to me, which I didn't know at that time, but you know, pretty much I'll be paying for the shipping coming back. So I pay the $18. I get it sent off. I did put in there that I want Hygear to contact me when they receive it, and then I want to know what's going on, how much it's going to cost and everything. So they contact me, and you know, they give me the prices and everything, and I'm like, okay, fine. And he said, I'm going to get this washed up today. They received it on, I believe, a Monday, which would have been October 4th. So like over that weekend, they received it from Friday to Monday. That was awesome. So anyway, they received it on the Monday, and they said, hey, I'm going to get this taken care of. We'll get this out this week. I'm like, sweet. So the following week comes. I don't hear anything from Hygear. And they're supposed to send you an invoice. In that invoice, you pay for it, and then they'll ship your product back to you. So I'm waiting, don't hear anything. The end of the week comes. Well, I call him up, talk to a guy there. He said, yeah, we got a bunch of things. They're getting ready to go out. A bunch of things, which I assume are shocks, but we've got a bunch of things that are getting ready to go out. So I'm like, sweet. My shock's coming in that order. Next week goes by. I don't hear anything. I call him up, say, what's going on? He said, we're waiting on a part. I'm like, okay. And he said, yeah, it should be coming in. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I wait the rest of that week. Wait for another week. Finally, I'm getting pissed. So I call him up, you know, really express my frustration. And they said, yeah, they're waiting on one part from Fox. It's not really back ordered. It's released to be, they've released it, but they haven't mailed the product out yet. So they're waiting for the product. Hygear is. He said when they get it, they'll slam the shock together and get it to me. Needless to say, when it comes to the end, they finally send me an invoice and the email, and I'm charged like, I don't even remember, but I want to say it was something crazy. It was like 30-some bucks for shipping. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I've already paid $25 for the box and shipping, and then another $18 to send it to you guys because it wasn't covered. And then now you want to charge it back? And they said, okay, don't worry. They took it off, which was, I mean, I'm not going to say they did me a favor. I'm just saying that that's the thing to do. You know, you've messed up. And come to find out, he told me that you're not supposed to call UPS. You're supposed to go drop it off at a UPS store, which they never told me that when I was shipping it on that Friday, because I guess I could have ran to a UPS store, which is 35 minutes away, and shipped it. And I would have done that. But anyway, they took off the shipping. They shipped it back to me. And long story short, here's the box. Let's get it open and see what we got. It better be my shock. You have all that packing in there, and my shock's on the very bottom of the box. Wouldn't you put packing in there, then put my shock in there, and packing around it? So this is the part was on from the factory. And this is the part here. Now I don't know if you can tell, but if you look, here's the eyelet that's going to mount up top to your shock mount. It's cocked off to the side. If you look at this one, it's 90 degrees. So this one I guess is 45 turned up. So with that being said, oh, they even gave me a new sticker because this sticker was rubbed off. Looks like they gave me new stickers all the way around. Hygear has a service date on it. Everything looks the same. Alright, so now we're able to get this thing back on this sled.